What's up, witches?
What's up?
How's it going, girl?
It's going. Let's do this.
Right now, you're listening to Peace Out, Witches. We are talking real magic, real motherhood, and reclamation of sacred self. Today, we are going to be talking about May energies and Beltane. So, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Jamie. And if you're feeling like you're doing everything for everyone and there's not a lot of support and you're barely holding it together, well, this episode is definitely for you.
May is not just another month, it's a portal into more power, more pleasure, and more permission to come home to yourself. So, welcome. We are so glad you're here. Let's talk first about Beltane because it's going to be in just a few days. It's on the 1st of May. So, tell me a little bit about it.
Beltane is a ceremony of one of the eight Sabbats. If I said that wrong, you can comment below. One of the eight Sabbats that we celebrate in the pagan calendar. It's about life. It's a celebration of life. It's had a lot of um I guess what am I trying to say? Like mysteries or conspiracies around it, and that it's witchcraft, that's darker energies and demonic and all these other things. But actually, it's really about the celebration of fertility, of life, of our passions, of why we came here on earth. What did we come here for? And really connecting and going into that part of us. It's like that spark of inspiration or anything that makes us feel alive inside. And that's the Beltane to me is how I celebrate it. It's like the spark of life. And it reminds me of why I'm here and what I can do to kind of cultivate that spark every single day.
So it is celebrated on May 1st. It is the halfway point between spring equinox and summer solstice.
Mhm.
And, here in Missouri, it's still kind of rainy, but we are not having snow anymore. And the first part of spring is still kind of snowy. And so Beltane is really still representation of like that rebirth. Right now, we're noticing like all the flowers are starting to bloom. There's this real feeling and energy of like life and rebirth. And maybe even if we're working with farms or animals, we might be noticing that, like, oh, animals are, getting pregnant and there's things going on there because it really is this time of fertility and of everything awakening. I know here our flowers woke on the trees first and then leaves, and now everything is like green as can green.
Awesome.
Um, you can't get it any greener. But there's all different kinds of layers of green. And so it's really just about being lit up and yet still in that aspect of being able to go within. It's
Mhm.
definitely a time in most areas where you're spending more time outside. One of my favorite rituals to do on Beltane is just a simple one, and it's just to take flowers and leave it on your neighbor's door. Another, name for Beltane is May Day.
Mhm.
And then one of my favorite things is also to do a maypole. So
Mine
one of
too.
one of the ways that I started doing a maypole is just doing a stick and adding ribbons around the maypole and being able to just kind of play with that and almost like have it like wand size.
Mhm.
There was time when my kids were little. One of my favorite celebrations was always the Beltane celebration at a Waldorf school.
Mhm.
Spring
Mine too.
festival.
It
They
was
call
so
it all kinds of different
wonderful.
names.
And each grade would celebrate May Day wearing white, and they would dance around the maypole, and they would tie the ribbons in a beautiful way. And there was music and songs. And that was always my favorite too. And I also did make those wands too with my kids because I think it's
Mhm.
fun. It's a beautiful way to bring in the new season, to celebrate life, to celebrate the feelings we're feeling inside, really, because it's not just an outward thing. It's these, everything is emerging and rebirth and
Mhm.
growing, expanding, and starting to really be seen and heard and felt and all the things, right? And I think that Beltane is one of those Sabbats where we are seen and heard and we're able to express ourselves and we're able to um outwardly express what we feel inward during this time of year. And I think for a lot of people, it could be seduction and it could be that. And it could be family oriented where you create a wand or you go to your neighbor's house and leave flowers and actually do a celebration in that way. Or it can be simple as like a solitary person who is celebrating the pagan holidays or the witchy holidays, and they light a candle and they just do some magic with it.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and this year has definitely got some really great things going on with it when it comes to Beltane too. Um, we just had the new moon here on the 27th,
Hmm.
and so that brought a lot of different planetary alignments and things that are really bringing in that aspect of fire and fertility and rebirth and newness.
Divine feminine too. The divine
Yes.
feminine has during that whole month of April was rising.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And we've got this like whole aspect that just happened with Lilith across from the sun. And there's been this real like reckoning almost, this reclaiming that women are feeling. I think a lot of women are feeling this bubbly underneath the surface. And maybe all of us are feeling it, but I think
Hmm.
that there's just this aspect of understanding that we are mm, tired of taking your shit.
Yeah, so over it. And then so ready. Like there's that side of us
Hmm.
that's like, fuck that, I'm over it. But then there's this other side of us that's like, yes, I'm so ready for that. There's
Hmm.
this duality. But I think that's the crossover from the winter slowing down and doing that shadow work to emerging fresh and new in spring. And then during the season that we're ready for a new experience because we did all that work and now we're a new person and those shoes don't fit anymore. So we're out
Right.
to find the ones that do fit.
Well, and when we are looking at the moon cycle from 13 moons, I mean, this would really be, just the first or second new moon, actually the third new moon, because we're 3 months in, to the new year.
Hmm.
So I think that sometimes around this time, April, May, there's this aspect of like, oh, I'm 5 months into the year. Like I should have already been doing these things. But really, the
Oh,
year started
yes.
more like in April. And so we're really
Maybe.
more in the second month of the year. And that is why Beltane is where it is. And it's a representation of rebirth and
Mhm.
fertility and spring and
Planting seeds.
life.
Yeah, and planting seeds. And I'm so happy you mentioned that because I think that if more and more of us start to recognize internally how we feel during those winter months, January, February, March, when we're like going through, oh, it's the new year, what are you going to do in 2025? How much are you going to accomplish? As opposed to during those months, half of us, if not more of us, don't even want to get out of bed and go to work because we're just cocooning still. We're still going through certain things that we go through during the winter, which is we slow down and we're, more cozy and we don't have a lot of energy to expend. And oh my
But
gosh, I'm
that's
gonna say
because the
that.
leaves aren't awake yet.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
literally still sleeping in the tree.
Mhm.
And we are meant to be on a 13-month cycle. I mean, there are a lot of things that when we are looking at the divine feminine, when we're looking at Mother Maiden Crone, when we're looking at energies of the month and astronomy and how those things work, we also have to have the understanding that there have been a lot of things in the patriarchy that have put systems in place that don't necessarily benefit us on a soul level. And
No.
so that is why it's important on a soul level to understand that January really isn't supposed to be the new year because our souls feel that, our spirit feels it.
Mhm.
Like spring cleaning is a thing. We're just now feeling like we want to spring clean right now. Like I feel finally the rush to spring clean, but then it's still really rainy. And so I don't want to do
Right.
stuff when
Not
it's
quite
rainy.
there yet. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel this too, like as a mom and a homeschooler. August, September does not feel right to start a new school year to me.
Hmm.
I feel like we're just getting into a rhythm and then we have winter break. And then we got to get back to school. So, like for me, starting school in maybe like March and then ending in maybe end of June would be a better school year for me as a homeschooler. And I'm
Hmm.
actually toying with this idea with my son because it just seems more and actually give him more free time to explore some of the things he's interested in outside of school during the months that they're actually active. Like soccer in our area starts in August and it ends in November. So that would be soccer, basketball, what other interests he has without having to manage the school and all the other things too. It's just a better rhythm. So if April and May are the start of the new year, I'm so grateful because I feel like I'm ready to just tackle those goals that I really want for myself this year.
Hmm. Hmm. I think that's part of why I've always done like more of a teacher calendar. Like
Hmm.
my calendar always ends in July and I restart it in August, but my
Hmm.
birthday's in October, so it feels natural for me to like have that be like this um where I set things up, where I plan things, where I prepare. And then we're rolling through those next few months because that's really supposed to be more like the middle of the year, eight,
Yeah.
nine, 10,
Mhm.
not, the end. So yeah,
Right.
it's really interesting going down that whole rabbit hole.
Mhm.
Definitely have to maybe note that for a podcast next time is talking a
For
little bit
sure.
more, I think, about how um the divine feminine has to break down systems in order to continue to rise. Um,
Great.
but that is really a podcast for another day. So
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about the moon energies that we've got going on. We just had this Taurus new moon,
Mhm.
and it was on Monday. We talked a little bit about how we've had Lilith squared to the sun. So there's just a lot of divine feminine and really like ooky gooky feelings that you might be having.
Mhm.
Um, you might also be feeling really good if like the divine masculine is meeting you in that space. If you don't have divine masculine meeting you in that space, or you're frustrated in certain spaces in your life, then um, when Lilith is with the sun, you're going to feel more frustrated. You're going to see those things because that's telling you that things aren't working, that things need to change, boundaries need to be made, or systems need to be put into place. There's just other things that aren't working for you. And these times when we've got these kind of energies going on in the moon, they're an opportunity for us to look into our lives and say, that's where I need it. That's
Mhm.
my shadow. That's where I need to work.
Absolutely. And then that you can make a plan to do that. And with the Taurus energy and the new moon, that's a great time because Taurus is very steady. The Taurus energy is going to kind of help you find your foundation. Um, it's a very strong masculine energy, but at the same time, it's asking you to just slow down a little bit and reflect and receive, which is very divine feminine. And then also thinking about, what are you ready to receive? Uh, what do you value that maybe you've been putting last on your list? Let's reevaluate our values because I always do this when I set my new goals for my new year, which would be around this time. I'm like, okay, what am I valuing right now? They change from year to year. I mean, sometimes it's family stuff comes first at that time, or sometimes it's job or career. It just depends on where you're at. And this is a really good time and energy for you to just like dig deep and allow yourself to take a breath and settle into those energies and see where you need to put systems in place to make your life run smoother and have the support you need, especially if you're a tired mama like I am. It's a
Hmm.
very good time to see what's working, what's not, and then start to fix things as you can.
Yeah. Well, and then we've got the planets direct, so that's really helping right
Mhm.
now with a lot of different things. And so that's going to be coming in. Those energies are still very like after. We're still in that after piece from Mercury retrograde. We're still in that after piece from Venus coming out of the shadow. We're still in that after piece from that whole lunar eclipse, solar eclipse period we had. So this is more that time, like all of those times were a lot of work, a lot of shadowy things, a lot of like really looking at our life and figuring out where we needed to remove things and where we needed to bring in things. This next part is where we need to act, where we need to initiate, where we need to move. And we're going to be hearing those things. The reason that we talk about the energies of the month is this is the time you ask, what is my next step? Because this is the energy where everything's aligned to be giving you that clarity on what is the next step. And it's going to initiate those moves for you If you're looking at those shadowy pieces and saying, that's not working for me, I set a boundary here. That's not working for me, I added a new system. This isn't working for me, I cleared my whole room because I'm cluttered in there and I can't, my cluttered room, my cluttered head, right?
Mhm.
When we're saying yes to the things that are going to clear up our life in a time of action, then
Mhm.
more action is going to be provided for us to be able to continue to step forward, step forward, step forward, step forward. Just keep taking the next step. And so this
So
is
during
really
so
clarity.
during this time, what are three questions we could be asking every single day to kind of like bring in answers so that we have guidance?
Are you asking me that?
Yes. Uh-huh. What is the
I
next
think
step was one of them. I
I
like
think the
that.
biggest one would be like, how can I honor the feminine in me and how can I honor the masculine in men?
Hmm.
Because I think we spend a lot of time complaining about what men aren't doing and not spending enough time noticing what men are doing. So there's that aspect of if I'm going to be in my divine feminine, I have to be able to see when men are being in their divine masculine, even if maybe it's not my man right now.
Hmm.
So, how can I be like, what's something I can do for my feminine today? What's something that I can do for his masculine today? Because it's going to teach him then to do things for his masculine too.
And then what is my next step? I like that one. I'm going to
What is
use
my
that
next
all
step?
for the next 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that could be for anything. That could just be what is my plan for the day? What you could wake up and just be like, thank you, thank you, thank you, do a list of gratitude, and then ask your divine guidance, however that looks for you. Give me a plan for this day because my plans are what I think they should be, but your plans are what they should be. So, what is my divine plan for the day?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I
listen
like that.
and follow. Hmm.
I also think it's important to ask,
Yeah.
where am I restricting
Hmm.
in my life and where can I expand in my life?
Mm.
Because I think sometimes we don't realize how important it is to have that constriction and that out expansion and that constriction and that outer expansion. And this is a time of expansion. This is a time of doing new things, stepping into, oh my God, I'm going to try that new thing. This is really those opportunities of where can I expand? And then what things can I do that are going to help me expand? Like, where can I? So, again, like it goes back to Jamie, like you said, what's the next step to help me
Hmm.
expand?
Hmm.
What's the next step to release some restriction? Maybe where I'm too pent up or too restricted.
Hmm.
And then, you
I
know,
like
w-
that.
we've had some really, really powerful, like planetary things going on over the last few months. We had like all of our planets align. On April 17th, we had like the alignment of Neptune, Mercury, Saturn, and Venus. And
Mhm.
so there's really been a lot of things since
Mm.
that to this point that are going to be shown to us. And now it could be kind of hard or it could be really easy because you're just kind of looking for the signs in your life. And,
And you're
you
ready.
know,
Yeah.
one of the things that me and my kids do, because my kids, I have some teens and I have some young children, I have some younger children and some older children. And my older children who are teens and have phones, they'll like text sometimes at 11:11 or 1, 2, 3, 4 or like whatever. It's just, like we do this throughout the day. And one of my younger sons started putting on his alarm for it. And I'm like, you can't put your alarm on for it. That's cheating.
That's
The point is to
cute.
be able to notice it and then share that we noticed it. And so
Mhm.
today my mom got home. She was flying somewhere and she texted me that she was home right at 11:11. And it was like 1:11 for me and 11:11 for her. And um, these are signs. If you
Mhm.
ask, what is the next thing I'm supposed to do? And then you notice at 11:11 that your mom was right where she's supposed to be, and you
Say
can't
a prayer of
acknowledge that.
gratitude.
Yeah,
Say a prayer of gratitude.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So there's
Moment
these
to be grateful
massive
for.
expansion shifts that are possible,
Hmm.
if we can just jump for it, I think. Jump for it.
And then I kind of want to segue this into, we at Peace Not Perfection Academy have a monthly membership, which is called Lunar Alchemy, if you haven't heard of it. And we dive deep in some of these concepts and how to harness the moon's energy and the planetary energies to actually have a more fulfilled and connected life because they're going to affect us whether we know it or not. Might as well
Hmm.
use them and use the energies of the month or of the moon cycle that we're in order to make the shifts that we want to make. And we love doing this. It's a one live circle on Zoom a month, and then it's a recorded, and then we have a tarot class as well, and a huge community of like-minded women who come in and share their wisdom and their support. But I just wanted to add that because we do go deeper into these ideas and we do offer um, ways to harness the energy so that you can make big shifts.
Hmm. And we provide a lot of information on going deep on what each of the planets are and how they affect your, different astrological aspects. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely a lot to offer there. We love that community in Lunar Alchemy. And if you haven't heard about it yet, we'll make sure we drop some information in the show notes for you. So let's talk a little bit more about some things that you can do if maybe you are feeling frustrated or like the gunk or feeling like maybe you have steps that you know you need to take, but maybe you're not ready to take them, or maybe you feel overwhelmed. What are some like small things that you can do to kind of support yourself?
Well, one of the things that I love to do, and I know you do too, is take a ritual bath. What does that look like? That looks like self-care for maybe 45 minutes in your day, where you tell everyone in your family, I need this next 45 minutes for me. You light candles, you bring in incense, you bring in we like to use essential oils and flowers in our bath. We like really set the stage for it being more sacred than just a regular bath.
Hmm.
And then when I like to add Epsom salt, but I add holy water to my bath as well. And then I say a prayer of gratitude before I even take my bath. And sometimes while I'm bathing, I'll pray to angels or, different beings that I call in and energies I call in to bring in the things that I want to bring in, the energies that I want to bring into my life, and especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed. This is such a great way to do it. Epsom salt will help with the immediately help the stress levels and bring your cortisol down because you're allowing the ions to rebalance. So you're taking away the stress load and allowing a detox in your body too, because sometimes when we're in fight or flight, we're holding on to all the toxins and all the things we're dealing with on a daily basis, and we're not releasing, we're not in release mode. And when you take a nice Epsom salt bath, of course, do this at with the recommendation of your doctor. Not everybody is in a physical way can actually take an Epsom salt bath. I want to mention that. But
Hmm.
if you
You can also
can,
do a shower if you don't have a bath,
yeah,
but
and you
still
can
make
do
it
a shower.
special. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well,
candlelight, special music.
that's what I like to do. That's when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And if I don't have time to do that, then I just, write things in my gratitude journal because I have to offload. And sometimes offloading doesn't mean going deep into the dark energies that I'm feeling. It means redirecting and pivoting.
Hmm.
What
Yeah, and I
about you?
think that this is a good energy for that aspect of gratitude because, it is a rebirth. It's the things that we're creating. It's that practical thing in our life that's going to be able to bring us something. So I think that's great.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what to expect this month just in like dates. So if you want notes or want to know what to look more into, I would suggest kind of researching yourself on some of these things. The thing that I would research is maybe how your horoscope might be affected by the house of this planet. Okay. So,
Mhm.
like, for example, if you're a Libra, then your house 1 through 12 is going to represent certain things. And then if Pluto is in a certain place, then it's going to affect a certain house. Okay. And if that doesn't make much sense to you, you can always like Google more information. This is just kind of a basic for how to work with the moon energies. So, one of the things we have going on May 4th, may the force be with you, is Pluto. So, Pluto's going to station retrograde in Aquarius. And that is really going to be a big time for feeling like a lot of introspection. And you might be feeling like I'm going to sit on the ocean time and I just want to like love myself and I want to look at my life and I want to see what I've created and I want to spend all this intentional time doing all these magical things. And it's going to be very, very internal and feel very like this is what I'm here for.
Mhm.
Then Mercury is going to go in Taurus around May 10th, and that's going to make us feel grounded. And it's really going to help in the area of communication. So if communication between now and like May 10th is feeling kind of off, that might be why. And so Mercury will kind of come into Taurus and give you a little bit better of that. The next one is May 17th. That's going to be Uranus, and it's going to um, be in Kazimi.
Mhm. I don't
And
know
that
that
one
one.
is actually exploring personal freedom. So again, you might feel this aspect of like, fuck knows, that's not working for me. Or you're going to feel really like encouraged by, oh my God, I want to like paint and I want to create, especially if you're an artist or a creative person. I think one of the biggest things women lose in our motherhood is often creativity because we don't feel like we have time for it. And
That's true.
so, one of the things that I often will work with that is like a little 5 minute water painting every morning. And so I have like watercolors that I keep nearby and a watercolor art book, and I'll use it to be able to like do certain things in. But it helped me bring back my creativity, which also helped me with my focus. So, it's just kind of one of the things. Then we've got Gemini coming in the sun May 20th, and that's going to bring more focus of communication. So we've got a lot of communication things going on, and it's going to also bring in more creativity. So I would say from like May 10th to May at the end of May, you might be feeling really creative. This is the time to explore, to expand, to be instead of like journaling all the things you're creative for, journaling all the things you're calling in.
Love it.
Like, what is that looking like
Yes.
every day? Like,
Yes.
I love that practice that Jamie does, which kind of is still a grateful practice, but I'm thankful and grateful for
Now that.
supporting
Hmm.
supporting a million women in finding their inner magic. So like just writing those things and creating those things and seeing them and spending time with them. This is really a good time for that because we are a creative force. We're meant to create, and the energies are saying, yes, this is the important time to create, which again is spring, right?
Right.
Why do we have all these summer, fall babies? Because,
Right.
spring is a time for wanting to connect with each other. Um, from the 20th on, that would be a good time to focus on creativity and communication within your relationships. Like, if you're not dating your husband and you've been with him for a while, you need to date him. You need to do fun things. You need to have no conversations about kids and work. You need to be like mini golfing and bowling and like just doing some fun things. Do art together, do whatever, just being fun. And then the last one is Saturn in Aries, and that's going to be May 24th. And that's going to bring a transition that marks the beginning of a brand new chapter in self affirmation and asserting oneself. So, if you look a little bit at like what happens in the beginning of the month, there's going to be this layer of like frustration, things that aren't working out for me, things that I'm seeing that like, oh, this is just no. And then as we move into the middle of the month, it's going to be creating that new aspect of life and that new energy and the new things that we're calling in. And then towards the end of the month, it's going to be demanding those things, standing in those things, accessing those things, asserting myself in that life that I've created.
As if it's already happened. And I like it because I think the manifestation process always begins with w- noticing what you don't want. Therefore, you then know what you do want. And then
Mhm.
once you fully can stand into the feeling of what you do want, then you become that. And then when you become that, then it's there. It comes to you. It's manifested.
Yeah.
So that's what May sounds like. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think we need to do a deep dive maybe on astronomy because, each of the planets carries like a certain personality and a certain archetype. And then each of the horoscope carries a certain personality and a certain archetype. And then when you're moving through those planetary archetypes, then you kind of start to understand how maybe they work within you.
Mm,
Because it is very personal.
yeah, it is.
Um, Human design, astronomy, all of these things that take how we were born and where into place is really just a part of our remembering. a
Hmm.
part of our understanding that we have access to everything and to
They're like
all.
it's like a blue book or a blue, like a, when, when you build a house and there's that blue sheet that kind of
Yeah.
gives you the framework. That's what it reminds me of. It's like the framework. If you have that knowledge and you layer upon layer, and you don't have to have every little piece, just enough to like, oh, wow, that's true. Oh, yes, this is good advice. Then you'll start to know yourself more. And then you will be able to follow along and learn more about yourself and learn about the planets and how they affect you and the moon cycles. Start simple and then expand.
Yeah. And if you don't like journaling, I recommend you try it anyway.
You do.
I was
Yes,
just,
you do.
I've had a lot of coaching sessions this week, and I've had a lot of the same conversations. And I think people sometimes are afraid to write down their fuck yous and afraid to write down their dreams. And so I've been lately recommending a fuck you journal. Like, go find a journal that is your fuck you journal and write all your stuff in there that's not working for you in your life and that you're upset or angry or frustrated about. And then when you fill that journal up, burn it, because I think sometimes we're afraid to like hold on to those things or to write them or to see them. But when you get that kind of stuff out, then maybe you're going to have like a happy journal. And maybe you want to, in the happy journal, create all the things you're creating in your life. And you're able to begin creating them faster and faster and higher levels when you are not stuck in the earthly cycles. Because when you journal things like this, it helps you, again, it goes back to that same aspect we just talked about, which is like reminding you that you're connected to spirit
Mhm.
and that you can create. And when we get muffled in the world and our muggle things, it's hard for us to create because we're just kind of stuck. And so, journaling, taking goddess baths, both of those things are not just divine feminine, they're for everyone, but they're a great way to call in your divine feminine on a daily basis if you got 20 minutes.
Mhm.
And
And
if
if
you don't
you're
have 20
afraid,
minutes,
yeah,
I
if you
was
don't
gonna
have
say if you
20,
don't, yeah, if
mhm,
you don't have 20 minutes, get a coloring book and some crayons and have some kids color or like
that's
get a
wonderful idea.
cool thing that your kids haven't played with yet that they can play with kind of, like a train set or like magnet set, like the things that were a novelty that maybe you pulled out and you're putting back in, pull those things out and create that 20 minutes of journal time for yourself because it's important.
It is. And if you're afraid that someone can read what you wrote in your bucket journal or fuck you journal, just rip it up. Get rid of it
Yeah.
right away. You don't
Yeah.
have to hang on to it. You could just trash it, rip it up and trash it.
Yeah, yeah, because I think that that's a reality for some people too. I prefer to burn mine, but yeah, that is, I think there is that reality sometimes.
There
So
is.
yeah, do you want to pull a card real quick and talk to us a little bit about those energies before we close up,
Okay.
or do you want me to pull it and then tell you? What do you want
I'll pull.
to? Okay,
I'll pull it. But I just wanted to um leave you guys with, you covered a lot. And I think the biggest thing I'm hearing from the energies of May is, if you have a dream or a goal or you want to put a plan in motion for your life, whether it's small, big or small, it does not matter. Now's the time to actually write it out and
hmm
then express it, and then allow yourself to live it in your mind. Even if you're washing dishes and you just need a minute, just daydream about it, like we used to as we were kids. Daydream doing those dishes and daydreaming about the goal, the dream, whatever it is, and really connect with it. And you don't have to go big and audacious and juicy goals. You could go really small. Start with something that is a stretch, but it isn't necessarily easy to achieve. And then, what is my next step? What do I do next? And ask the questions and start really getting into living divinely and allowing divine to allow you to move, or give you the signs to move forward with, and give you the roadmap. And I pulled the Empress from the tarot deck. I'm sure you can't see it.
oh yeah,
Can't see
because you're
it.
blurred, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So the Empress card, you want to talk about it?
Yeah,
She's, yeah, this is the fertile queen, right? The Empress, she's sitting on her throne and she
I
almost
mean,
looks
how does she
pregnant.
not represent everything that is
I
Beltane?
know. It's so funny. And I think of Taurus too, like the Taurus energies,
hmm
um, as her. For whatever reason, I connect those energies. And she's, fertile, and she's wearing this robe and this gown that makes her look like she's pregnant, and everything on her robe and gown is related to fertility. So this is your sign. This is the sign of the month to really go into flow. If it's very hard for you to do that and you don't have a lot of time, I like the idea of coloring or journaling. If you have a lot of mental chatter that's in there that you have to get past before you can get to that level, then write it out, destroy it, get rid of it, and then, have your pens ready, color with your kids. I like the idea of get the kids coloring, but then you color too.
Hmm.
Give yourself that moment of coloring or just being creative and allowing, and while you're coloring, daydream about what you want to create in your life, allow yourself to
Yeah.
really feel.
Well, and this is, I mean, with Beltane, it's a great time to be pulling flowers into the house, making flower crowns. There's lots of ways that you can be doing this with your kids, celebrating Beltane.
Mhm.
We do monthly festivals. So I would definitely check out some of those monthly festivals that we do. This month's monthly festival is a Beltane festival. By the time you listen to this podcast, that festival will have happened, but check for the April one if you are, I'm sorry, the June one, if that's
Mhm.
something that you would like to learn more about.
They're free.
And
They're free to join. Just sign up.
yeah.
Mhm.
And if you want to learn more about all things metaphysical science, then we have our Path to Priestess program. Jamie and I are metaphysical ministers. And so that is the work that we do. And Path to Priestess is going to be an opportunity for you to spend months on a journey back to yourself and a journey into all different kinds of things like um, 13 months of learning about each of the moons and learning about the moon cycles and learning about how they represent our body and then learning your astronomy to that and how it reflects with you personally. Um, and awesome things like somatic movement and somatic breath work and Reiki 1 and 2. So, those are just some of the things that we provide in Path to Priestess, but those are some of the most exciting. And we deep dive on, things like menarche ceremonies and blessing ways and closing bones.
Yeah.
And these are all opportunities for us to support women. And so these rituals and ceremonies are an important part of Divine Feminine. And they're an important part, like Beltane is, of honoring our soul existence with our body existence and
Our
being able
connection
to
to
live in
Earth.
a sacred way. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And I was, if you are pulled to know the mysteries and the divine feminine wisdom that is suppressed and hidden, we Path Priestess is something for you then, because we do a deep dive in the mysteries and we connect it to you personally so that you have an opportunity to really find your own divine feminine path and walk it and have the tools to walk it and to share it with other women too. If you decide to have your own business or have any holding space for women in any capacity, we offer that to you through Pouch Priestess.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this in May 2025, we are open doors with Path to Priestess. May 21st is when our first circle starts. So if that's something that you're interested in, we will make sure we have a link below that you can look more into, and we would love to have you join us. It really is an awesome opportunity to be with 13 women. We only take 13 women, and we already have 7 signed up. And so we've only got a few spots left, and we really all are committing to rising to the next best self. So this is a perfect month
Yeah.
for that, perfect energies for that. It really is just about getting deep into exploration of yourself so that you can create personal freedoms that allow you to live free on a daily basis and not stuck in this 3D muggle part of
Survival.
life sometimes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Just I think it's just the time to let go of rules that don't fit you anymore, of the
Yeah.
shoes that don't fit, Reclaim your joy, even if it feels like rebellion. Find the things that make you happy and do them, start doing them. And remember that your dreams and your desires are sacred, and you should honor them like you honor others' dreams and desires as sacred.
Yes.
We hope that you join us on our next one.
Peace out, witches.
Oh, witches.